Hello and welcome to Current Issues in Psychology, the Science of Happiness. My name is Dr. Ryan Howell. I'll be teaching this class online during the winter session. I wanted to make a quick video, one to sort of show you what all the videos will look like, so you have a pretty decent idea of kind of how we're going to go through the class, and then just give you a little bit of an understanding of how we're going to actually learn about positive psychology completely online. So as you can see, this is Psychology 300, the current issues of psychology. One of the important pieces of information I want to communicate very early is that each current issue has a specific theme, and I think I've tried to communicate to all of you that the theme for this class is the science of happiness. And so what we're going to really focus in on are the 15 most important concepts in happiness. My email address is rhowell@sfsu.edu. I should be online pretty much through the entire winter session, and you can email me at any time. We'll talk a little bit more about this as the class goes on, but I'm going to have online office hours through a process called Zoom. We'll be able to sort of have as many people in the office hours as possible, the virtual office hours. Right now I'm going to set those up between 3 and 3:30 every day, though I will make sure that those are flexible based on the needs and demands of the class. Really importantly, very recently, Shane Lopez wrote a book called Positive Psychology, the Scientific and Practical Explorations of Human Strengths. It's a wonderful textbook. We'll be reading that throughout the winter session. We'll be using the third edition, though students who took this before said that they read the second edition, didn't feel there were that many differences between the two. So if it's a price difference, you may want to consider taking the second edition, though I will be reading and writing the quiz questions based on the third edition. The major objectives of this class is that you can study positive psychology theories to understand how people can have the highest possible quality of life. We'll focus on lots of different empirical research articles that you're going to get exposed to through the textbook for the most part, though I will try and post a couple of the shorter and more interesting articles online as well. There's some really interesting topics in here looking at optimism and hope and mindfulness and spirituality. But one of the major things I like most about this class is that we will put a pretty big emphasis on how the results of these studies vary across cultures. Culture will be defined here very broadly, not just to be focused in on one's geographic location, but we'll also take in other types of factors. And you'll see that Shane Lopez recruited a second author to help write this textbook who has a specific interest in this area. And then we're going to examine a lot of different types of factors that really contribute to the good life. Again, one of the major factors will be culture. I think that when we start to look at some of the important objectives, of course, some of these things are going to then lead to specific outcomes. As I just mentioned, we're going to be looking at how culture shapes what we think is positive, how we look at the effect of societal and environmental forces on what contributes to our definition and experience of the good life. You'll be able to, at the end of this class, interpret lots of different research that's been focused on the good life, and importantly, describe how you or anyone else could actually improve their life circumstances by actually going through and engaging in types of activities that will allow you to feel happier. The class structure, as far as the grading, it's pretty straightforward. There are 3 major components. After each chapter that you'll read, and which will be including online lectures, much like this, there'll be a quiz. Each quiz will be worth 20 points, approximately 20 questions each. There'll be 15 of those quizzes for 300 total points. It's important for you to know that you can take the quiz up to 3 times, and then I just take your highest score. So one of the really important pieces of information that I personally learned this year is that one of the things that helps you really retain information isn't repetitive studying, but repetitive assessment. And so allowing a person to continue to take the quiz until they've really mastered the material will help your long-term retention. But I don't want this just to be an online class where you read a chapter and then take a quiz and then sort of move on. That would be fine, but I think it would be a little bit less fulfilling. One of the important pieces of information that we're also going to include are these 4 mini experiments and these different types of personal reflections. So you'll see a lot of mini experiments in the textbook where it'll sort of guide you through opportunities to basically apply positive psychology interventions into your own life. We're going to focus on 4 specific ones. You'll see them a little bit later. And then you'll write a personal reflection. The first reflection will be, quote, maybe graded easy, so I can give you some feedback and you'll have a pretty good idea of how to write those reflections going forward. And then what I think most people enjoyed more than any other part of the class last time was the self-improvement project at the end. We'll be talking more about that as it goes on, but that essentially is in place of a final. The grading scale is what you would expect. It's essentially the typical cutoffs. You can email me if you have any specific questions. So here's how we're going to try and go through this class. It's not necessarily a schedule that has dates attached to it, but more tasks, and as you go through each task at the self-pace that you want to go through, then you essentially need to complete 20 tasks to complete the class. You'll notice that each task is either a lecture that corresponds to a chapter in the book with a particular topic, and then a quiz that is associated with it, or it is an intervention of some sort. So for example, the first thing that you need to do is watch the online lectures. I'm hoping to keep these lectures at between 10 and 20 minutes each. The software that I'm using that actually allows you to hear what I'm saying right now maxes out at 10 minutes. And what you'll do is you'll watch these lectures and then you'll read the corresponding chapter. And when you feel like you really understand the material, you'll take the quiz. You'll see your grade on the quiz, and if you're happy with your grade, you can move on. If not, you can go back and watch the lectures a little bit more. You can go back and read the textbook a little bit more. You can come to virtual office hours, and then you can take the quiz again. And again, you can take the quiz up to 3 times, and then I just take your highest grade. So even if you do exceedingly poorly on the first one, but do wonderful on the third one, that's all that really matters, because that means you've actually learned. In iLearn, you'll see a section that will be basically this header right here. So for example, the first section is what is positive psychology. And I'll also try and put some other pieces of information in there beyond just the online lectures and the questions from the book. There will probably be some other YouTubes and things like that. The other thing that you'll be doing for the class, these are the mini experiments, is going through these different types of interventions and assessments. Each little block in the iLearn class will tell you a little bit more about this with sort of rubrics and information. But for example, this first assignment, you actually go to my website and you take these different types of quizzes that help you learn a lot about how we measure happiness and how we define happiness. And the reflection that you're going to write on is if you feel like these different types of things actually measure happiness really, really well. And that's basically the structure of the class. Again, you can go at any pace that you would like to go at. So if you would like to do all the online lectures first, that's fine. If you'd like to pick them in any order, you can do that. And as I said, you could complete this class in a week or in a month. So that's it. That's the really relatively brief introduction to the class. I want to try and keep all these videos relatively short, so I will probably be talking quickly, but again, the advantage here is you can actually stop, pause, and rewatch all of these. So thank you for joining me, and again, remember, if you have any questions about the syllabus, just email me at any time. Thanks.